collapse of the Alonso project, how the stars devoured the dream coach of Real Madrid and where the most toxic club in the world goes now. The dismissal of Xabi Alonso is not a sporting failure. This is a systemic crisis of Real Madrid, which calls into question the very possibility of managing a team where players have the power of monarchs. And now, Álvaro Arbeloa and Kylian Mbappé, whose dream has turned into a nightmare, will have to deal with it. The silence at Real Madrid on Monday was deafening. Not the solemn silence before a victory, but a heavy, oppressive one like after a funeral. Just a few hours after the official announcement of Xabi Alonso's contract termination, the club was already living in a new reality. A reality in which the project built over years no longer exists. It was eaten from within. Alonso left not just because of the defeat in El Clasico. That defeat was just the last straw, the final act of a tragedy that had been playing out since his appointment. His departure is a mirror in which Real Madrid saw its own distorted reflection, a club of incredible individuals that has forgotten how to be a team, a club where the hired specialist is not the main one, but a temporary keeper of the zoo of stars. System versus cult of personality. Xabi Alonso arrived in Madrid not as an ordinary coach. He arrived as a messiah of tactics, a savior from coaching improvisation. His Bayer Leverkusen was a model of organization, a disciplined machine where every cog understood its place. Real Madrid, however, is an empire of stars built on the cult of genius, on the moment of individual brilliance. For decades, they won not because the system was perfect, but because in the decisive moment, Cristiano, Raul, Zidane, or Benzema did what the system couldn't. Alonso tried to instill a collective idea in the Blancos. He demanded sacrifice, off-the-ball movement, discipline, and build-up, and he faced a cold wall of misunderstanding. For Vinicius Jr., raised in the cult of dribbling and individual decision-making, making a run into the channel seemed like a waste of energy. For Kylian Mbappé, whose speed and power are his main weapons, constant pressing seemed like an unnecessary risk. This was a conflict of philosophies in its purest form. Alonso believed that 1 + 1 + 1 could equal 5 if added correctly. The stars of Real Madrid have always believed that they themselves are that 5, and the rest just shouldn't get in their way. At training sessions, as club insiders report, tension grew. Coaching instructions were carried out half-heartedly. Tactical setups for matches were forgotten by the 20th minute as soon as the game didn't go according to plan, and the save-yourself mode would kick in where everyone relied on their own talent. Alonso, an intellectual and perfectionist, would clutch his tablet until it cracked. He saw his perfect blueprint turn into a child's drawing. Why the dressing room remained deaf? Why didn't the authority of Alonso the player, a legend of Liverpool, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, work? The myth that a great footballer automatically becomes an unquestionable authority for other great footballers was shattered by the realities of modern football. Vinicius, Mbappé, Jude Bellingham, these are players of the era of social media and personal brands. Their audience numbers in the millions, their market value exceeds that of many clubs. Their influence on club politics through agents and sponsors is colossal. For them, the coach is not the boss, but part of the infrastructure like the training ground or the nutritionist. Respect must be earned not by past merits but by current strength. Carlo Ancelotti and Zinedine Zidane came at times when the club was struggling. They were saviors. Alonso came to a champion club at its peak. His mission was not to save but to improve. This gave the players a psychological advantage. We're winners already, why do we need to change? The unspoken conflict between Mbappé and Vinicius for alpha status consumed a huge amount of energy. Both want to be the main man on the left flank and in the spotlight. Alonso found himself in the role of an awkward arbiter, trying to please two kings, each of whom considered the throne rightfully his. The players did not stage an open rebellion. They didn't come out with statements. They staged a quiet sabotage-like strike. They simply stopped doing what they didn't believe in. In modern football, that's enough. A separate tragedy is unfolding around Kylian Mbappé. His transfer was supposed to usher in a new golden era. Instead, it has become a symbol of imbalance. Did he make a mistake? Financially and image-wise, no. He is the face of the world's most decorated club, but from a footballing perspective, serious questions arise. At PSG, he was the absolute center of the universe. The whole game was built around him. At Real Madrid, he is just one planet in an already overcrowded galaxy. He has to share the ball, space, and glory. Moreover, his arrival provoked a crisis for Vinicius, who considered himself the heir to the throne after Benzema's departure. Mbappé today is the most expensive and talented square peg that is being forced with great difficulty into the round hole of the tactics. He scores, yes, but his presence breaks the usual schemes, forces others to play out of position, creates tension. Paradox. The world's greatest player has become a problem for the world's greatest club. His childhood dream has turned into the most difficult puzzle of his career. And if Real Madrid doesn't win the Champions League this year, Mbappé, despite his goals, will be seen as a costly hindrance, not a solution. Arbeloa's appointment is an act of desperation, but not devoid of logic. He has no experience working with a top team. He is respected in the academy, but the star's dressing room is a jungle with different laws. The chances that he will repeat Zidane's path, who also came without experience, are minuscule. Zidane was a global superstar. Arbeloa is a respected but not iconic player. Why is there logic in this? He is a product of Madridismo. He understands the club from the inside, its politics, its pressure. He won't bring revolutionary ideas that would scare the stars. His task is not to rebuild the team, but to restore moral order in the dressing room, to become their guy who, in a language they understand, will explain to Vinicius and Mbappé that their personal war is destroying everyone. He is not a strategist coach, but a psychologist coach and crisis manager. His mission is to give the team until the end of the season to win La Liga and make one final push in the Champions League. This is a band-aid, but sometimes a band-aid is needed to stop the bleeding while you look for a surgeon. Can this Real Madrid even be coached? The club is at a crossroads. The old recipe of gather the stars and let the coach figure it out has failed. Look for a new Ancelotti or Zidane, a figure with such authority that arguing with them is unthinkable. But there are very few such people in the world. Make the painful decision and sell one of the pillars, most likely Vinicius. Send a signal that the team is more important than any name. This is a courageous but incredibly risky step. Abandon the Galácticos and build a young, hungry, manageable team, as Barcelona once did. But will the fans and the president withstand that? And what about Xabi Alonso? His career is not over. It has just received a cruel but priceless lesson. He will go to Manchester City, Liverpool, or the Spanish national team wiser, hardened, and perhaps more cynical. Real Madrid became the most expensive and bitter coaching academy for him. The conclusion is simple and ruthless. As long as Real Madrid does not answer the fundamental question who is in charge here, history will repeat itself. New Alonsos will come, will leave broken. New Mbappés will come, and their dreams will collide with the harsh reality of a club that loves to collect stars but has forgotten how to assemble them into a constellation. The dismissal of Alonso is not the end of the story. This is only the beginning of the most complex saga in the recent history of the Blancos, a saga about whether the royal club can once again subdue its own kings.